I'm Jay here with my good friend Mike D from the Soccer Rebellion. Mike D, we've been doing some great things lately. You and I together, we've been doing our Sunday night soccer show, but we're glad to have you back here on this podcast because you have some exciting news to share with everybody.
I do. So first of all, it's been an amazing journey this past year in kind of discovering the landscape and watching you discover the landscape and going into communities and really figuring out who are the front runners and the people that are pioneering a more inclusive and accessible soccer landscape. And because our synergy is matches up so much with what we got going on with the Soccer Rebellion and have that same mission, I think it's about time that we become official partners. And Straight from the Training Ground is now under the umbrella of the Soccer Rebellion, which, man, it's in due time. It's too easy. Like the way we're doing things and the way we talk, it's just because it matches up on what we want to see happen. And I think a lot of what this means is we now have a much louder voice together to influence the landscape and make real change start to happen. So the partnership gives us a much louder voice for the authentic soccer community, for the people and the organizations that are truly out there to make a difference and put the game first, to put the players first, to put development first, and kind of undercut the corporate governing parties that have sold this to the suburbs or have put us in a position to where the landscape is very segregated. And this is where me and you definitely share our passions, that, and we just nerd out on being coaches and the game, and we're obsessed with it. So I'm just excited, man. Now like with sponsorships that this affords, the reach that we have, you know, it allows us to take the accessibility to the next level by flipping some of the sponsorships that we get, turning that into actual programming, to make everything a little bit more accessible, to highlight other people's programming, to showcase what's going around in your neighborhood, what people are starting to do. This is the movement, and our movement just got so much stronger now with Straight from the Training Ground on board. It's a Michael Jordan and LeBron James sponsor or partnership. So you would be, I don't know, I think you would be Scotty.
I'm older. I'd be Jordan.
You'd be Jordan. Okay.
You'd be Steve Kerr.
I'll take it.
Hey, real quick, I'm going to pull up the website. Obviously, we've done a lot of things in the past year, the last few months. It is crazy. You said there 1 month ago or 1 year ago, I think last week was our first podcast we ever did together. And I remember you were sitting in your car on your phone.
Oh my God. I do remember that. I do. I had it like this because I was at the gym and I was like, oh crap, I got this. But that was that was even a really good, I mean, right then and there, we knew it. Like that was a really good podcast.
It was genuine.
Yeah. It was genuine.
So I'll pull up the website for everyone to see on the Soccer Rebellion. Tell everybody a little bit about, obviously very excited to partner together, and just, I think, gives us both a lot more resources and expands what we're both passionate about. But we'll pull up the website. Tell everybody a little bit about a lot of the different facets, the spider web, so to speak, within the Soccer Rebellion.
Yeah, so we are definitely becoming multifaceted in how we're trying to impact the game. It starts with, the Soccer Rebellion started by actually doing youth tournaments, and it was just basically to do tournaments with this unique atmosphere. The atmosphere that we have is very patent. So what makes us unique in a lot of different companies that might be doing street soccer tournaments or things of that nature is that we are very much integrated into the American culture and the pop culture. So when you experience our culture, you're getting a whole different flavor than what you've seen in the soccer world before. But the whole idea behind even starting that was we wanted to mimic the culture somewhat that a basketball had and make this game more accessible and allow players to have this playground where they're developing their game, because we know that that's what's missing. A lot of players aren't playing outside of practice, and that's where the true development comes. So we started off with tournaments to kind of showcase and hopefully inspire, pick up, and what small-sided games look like. You don't need to have a full 11. You can play 3v3, 2v2, 1v1, whatever it may be. And then from there, kind of evolved into this community. While we were starting to do more pickups, then that turned into leagues, and then that turned into a national tour. So we have our Bridge Street League, which is Michigan's street soccer league. only street soccer league that now has the first women's street soccer league in Grand Rapids. That's taking off, and that's a community spectacle, if you will, where you have the atmosphere with a live DJ. You get a taste of all the local flavors from around the city. You have organizations that are out there, the ones that are supporting with their sponsorship dollars, connecting now with the players. So you have this front porch community that's now created through this Bridge Street League, and that's been slowly getting bigger and bigger, and we're looking to expand there. We have our takeover tour where we travel around the Midwest and the Northeast and put on these micro tournaments that mimic that city's soccer culture, and we're identifying what that culture looks like and how it's different from Chicago to Philly. And this is where I think me and you align a lot of those things, is the discovery part of and the curiosity of what this landscape truly looks like not what we're being sold, not the marketing,
Yeah.
not the clubs, what it really looks like with the players being in the forefront and the players that are truly passionate about it. And from there, we then went into youth and started a nonprofit called Young Rebels, where we provide the lab, which is a creative programming to where we allow the players to come in, teach them maybe a flair move, show them to think outside the box, and just let them play in our atmosphere. So it's inspiring creativity. It's inspiring the players to make their own decisions and not be coached, so they can have that development in their decision making and their confidence within themselves and feel that passion. Because I think a big hurdle for players, especially in the States, is their success is coming from how they're being told how to play, not necessarily how they want to play. So Young Rebels is something that's continuing to grow as well. And then now we have our facility that's opening up in January, the Underground, where we're flipping the model of how an indoor facility operates. And we have training pods and classes outside of 2 futsal courts, to where you use it as a gym. So you get a membership for a low price of $30 a month, and you can play pickup every day if you want. You can come there, get soccer specific training, work on technique while you're working on strength, speed, and agility. And it's a haven for soccer player in the soccer culture. Everything has our street soccer influence on it. We have a very iconic mural that's going to be going up that's all about the soccer culture and the American culture that we're ingrained with. So we're becoming more and more of a staple within Grand Rapids and the street soccer culture of what this landscape looks like. And now with the acquisition of Straight from the Training Ground and our different, we also, I should back up. We also have, if you look at the top of the screen, we also do tours with the MLS. And that's to help connect them with their player authentic audience. Because even from the MLS standpoint, it is disconnected. A lot of the fans that you see in MLS, not Columbus, are more of the craft beer variety and maybe not players. So there's a little bit lack of understanding and enthusiasm for the game, because they don't understand what a player knows, because there's still this disconnect. We go on tour with the U.S. Women's National Players Association, the USA Classic, which is up there, and we put on women's specific tournament to showcase that platform, to try to create more equity for the women's landscape, because a lot of it after they play competitive is co-ed or nothing. So trying to showcase that identity and allow those players to create the identity. And so with everything that's all culminated, we're trying to be the representation for the players. We're not trying to dictate it. And that's a big difference. And what I love about what you do and how you interview people is you allow them the platform and the space to kind of talk about their mission and what they have going on. And you're very particular in how that lines up. And I think that you got to have that collaboration spirit for soccer to actually change. And you got to allow players, you got to allow organizations that are soccer front to be the forefront of what this culture looks like, what this landscape looks like, and promote the organizations, the players that are aspiring to have change and that can influence. So with this type of voice, we're talking about it, having conversations, learning from people around the country. We're starting to connect dots. And then eventually the hope is the Soccer Rebellion can become your homestead of what does the American soccer culture represent. And you don't have to look any farther than the Soccer Rebellion, and we'll help you connect those dots.
And you and I also, have a couple things we're working on behind the scenes, which we'll keep to ourselves for now.
All right.
Some other exciting things, but we also, several months ago started the Soccer Neighborhood, which
Yes,
is an
that's right.
online community that we both work on. When you talk about connecting the dots, it's an online community where we try to share everyone out there at any capacity. It could be one or two people. It could be an organization who's providing, free soccer opportunities or very low cost opportunities for kids, especially in urban areas and lower financial areas, to give them opportunities for soccer. So I think we've done a lot of great things, in this past year.
Yes.
But very excited to continue to work together. I know I'm excited to continue to work with you with our podcast and do whatever we can to expand our voice together and use all of our resources. So I think we're on to some great things.
100%.
And very exciting time, I think. I know you're very swamped right now with the facility and trying to get that underway by January, is it?
Yeah, it's by January. But I want to go back to what. So I think what's where people listening to this, in the soccer culture, what we're talking about, the pay to play model, segregating, the culture not feeling defined, everything kind of being spaced out and on its island. The call to action. This is what we're talking about, how real this actually is. That making this change happening is the way that we do this is we're building a network of an audience. So the larger that our audience and our network gets, the more success that we have with sponsorships. The more sponsorships that we're able to acquire allows us to collect the money that pays for the facilities, that pays for, things, the programming that's going on from the sponsors and not the players. And so that's how we're flipping the model. And that's why our voice getting louder enables us to create more of those opportunities. And I think that's, if people are asking that question, like, how are you doing this? Like, first of all, there's not a lot of money being made, but that's not what the prerogative here is. It's not that. It's really to change the landscape for this game that we are obsessed with and love. And we know how much it does for people and how much it does for community. So, that's, if there's anything like that, if you're wondering, I think sometimes people look at this and they look at the brand because we work with Nike, we work with Dick's Sporting Goods and think, oh, we're just ushering all this. All the money that we get goes back to the players for the most part. Yes, we take some off for our time because we still got to feed our families and we spend hours on this, but it's not to pick anyone's pockets. It's players get it first, and then we take the leftovers, we take the scraps.
And it all goes back to providing the culture
that we're providing for the culture.
Yep, yeah, absolutely. So it goes back to our goal, our vision of the Rucker Park of soccer, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right. And I think the more we get that, and you have these identities and what you're finding, going into these different areas across the country and finding these pockets, you're starting to uncover, these places do exist. It's just, they're not on the mountaintop. They're not in the forefront. So
we have to go out and find them. And hopefully here, between our hard work, between the both of us and the entire group within the Soccer Rebellion and your great staff and our podcast, we hope to continue to do that. And we're going to keep pushing forward. So thanks a lot, Mike D, for everything. Very excited to work together, man. And we continue to bring you great content here on Straight from the Training Ground.